Scientists at the York-based biotechnology company Aptamer Group are using their expertise to develop a COVID-19 test that will generate results within seconds, supporting the government's strategic plan to exit lockdown. That's interesting and exciting news. Before we get into the detail about that, let's hear about the Aptamer Group. Joining me is the Chief Executive, Dr. Aaron Tolley. Aaron, tell us about the background to the Aptamer Group. Where are you based? How did the company come about?
Hello, so we're based at York Science Park in the Innovation Centre, and the company was founded by myself and Dr. David Bunker in 2008. We started trading around 2012, and we're essentially a group of companies focusing on the custom development of molecular tools for use in research, diagnostics, and more recently, therapeutics.
Okay, so I use this phrase Aptamer, the Aptamer Group. What are Aptamers?
That's a good question. So aptamers are essentially short pieces of DNA or RNA that fold into unique three-dimensional structures that allow them to bind to targets with high affinity and high specificity. This essentially means that they're very sticky and that they can discriminate between closely related molecules. And this makes them ideal for recognizing important targets such as the spike protein on COVID, or when used as therapeutics, for example, for the delivery of drug molecules to specific cell types. And aptamers are often referred to as chemical antibodies.
Okay, so that was a great scientific answer that I'm sure a lot of our audience will understand. Some of our audience won't understand. But essentially what I take from it as well is that aptamers are man-made. They're not natural.
No, aptamers are essentially a synthetic antibody made from DNA or RNA molecules, as I said previously. I think the main difference between antibodies and aptamers are essentially that aptamers are made from DNA and antibodies are made from proteins. One of the bigger differences is how they're isolated. So traditionally, antibodies are isolated within animals, whereas aptamers are isolated synthetically in a lab in a test tube where there's no animals required.
Okay, so how can aptamers be used to develop a rapid COVID-19 test, and what stage is your development at?
Well, aptamers will bind directly to the virus particle. So we will be developing what's known as an antigen test. And this is in order to detect the presence of the virus to see whether you're currently infected. This is different to the antibody test that's on the news at the moment, which detects the presence of antibodies within your body, which tells you whether or not you have previously been infected. We've already developed highly specific reagents to the COVID-19 virus, and we're currently in discussions with multiple different diagnostics companies around the world with a view for them to test our reagents.
Okay, so I should imagine you hope those companies will become partners. What kind of partners are you dealing with, and will you be able to get this technology into a mass test?
Yeah, well, essentially, we are already in discussions with two of the world's largest lateral flow diagnostic manufacturing companies. And a lateral flow device is essentially similar to a pregnancy test kit or a pregnancy test format. Once we have sent the aptamers for testing in that format, they will then be evaluated against clinical samples. And these manufacturers have the capacity to develop millions of tests. On top of that, the Aptamer technology is readily scalable to the kilogram quantity. So the source of material for the tests, which is the important key binding reagent, there will be no shortage of supply for that.
Everyone, of course, in the general public wants to know when, how long, when will we get our tests? What effect do you think this work you're doing will have to getting a test available to the general public in good order?
Again, I think that's a good question. I think that the rapid point of care testing will enable more confidence for the government and people in reducing lockdown restrictions and measures, and it will enable more confident returns to work and rapid testing in areas such as hospitals and airports, for example. Will hopefully enable us to keep the R value below 1 and minimise the spread of the virus.
Well, I know you're looking for resources, funding and partners at the moment. Certainly when it comes to the science and the know-how, you seem to be ahead of the game. Do you think that people are going to be taking an interest and getting your investments going in a way you need to develop it further?
Well, we recently had a funding round and we're close to closing that. So we have the capital needed to push the test forward. And as I said previously, we are in discussions with two of the world's largest lateral flow diagnostic test manufacturers, and also in discussions with other test formats such as the ELISA test format, which is not a point of care format. It's more a format that's used in hospitals.
Aaron Tolley, thank you.
Thank you.